Alright, just got done watching the UFC 78 validation. I won't make a crack about the name. Everyone knows what I think about the name, though. Sorry. I got some broken ribs, so forgive me if I don't talk really all that well today. A bit of a cold. Anyways, I went 8-1 on the card as the sorry, I'm also a little tired. As the description says, running it down, I'll start at the bottom, work my way up. The fights we did not see, starting off with Akihiro Gono versus Tandem McCrory. McCrory apparently handled Gono very well in the first round. Second round, Gono dropped him with a punch and followed him to the ground. McCrory tried an armbar. Gono passed it and armbarred McCrory and got actually submission tonight. Where do they go from here? Akihiro Gono is going to... I don't know. I really don't know where Gono goes. Maybe... I actually always would like to see Gono versus Chonin. But that's just a personal fight I'd like to see. As for McCrory, he goes back down, rebuilds a little bit. Maybe fights a newcomer. That might be the best idea. Moving on, we have Marcus Aurelio, Luke Caudillo. Apparently Aurelio had a hard time taking him down and actually dropped him with a punch, which is a bit weird, and then he trapped his arm and pounded him out from side control in that first round. Where do they go from here? Caudillo probably isn't in the UFC anymore. He's got 2 losses to Nate Moore and Marcus Aurelio now. As for Aurelio, maybe they use him to test a lightweight that hasn't been tested. Maybe Kenny Florian or something. Not that Kenny hasn't been tested, but that might be a pretty good fight. Perhaps a newcomer. He could turn him into a gatekeeper. That I think could work. The other fight we didn't see was Chris Lytle, Thiago Alves. Apparently, Lytle actually dropped Alves a few times in this fight, but the fight got stopped after the second round due to cuts to Lytle. Where does Alves go? I'd like to see Alves fight another tough opponent. Perhaps Marcus Davis. As for Lytle, heads down a bit, I guess, in the gatekeeper role. If they got a welterweight prospect, I think that he'd be a decent guy to match him up with, see where they stand. I think that's basically what you're going to use Lytle as for most of his career. Next up, we have a fight that we saw, and that was Joe Lauzon and Jason Reinhardt. Jason Reinhardt actually lived up to his promise of standing and banging, but it didn't work. Lauzon took him down, locked in a rear naked choke. Very slick rear naked choke, very good. Where does Reinhardt go? I think Reinhardt honestly would be best suited going out of the UFC because he's a small guy for 155. As for Lauzon, I'm intrigued to see how he does against a really tougher competition. Maybe a guy like Marcus Aurelio, maybe a Thiago Tavares, maybe a Spencer Fisher. These are all ideas I'd throw out there at you. Maybe a Kenny Florian. On to the main card. First up, we had Frankie Edgar, Spencer Fisher. This went like I'd said it was going to go. Fisher getting taken down kind of at will by Frankie Edgar. Edgar not doing a ton, but holding top position. Easy unanimous decision win. That's kind of how it went. Good for the home crowd. Where does Frankie Edgar go? Frankie Edgar may actually be in title contention now. He's got, significant wins over Tyson Griffin and over Spencer Fisher now. I would like to see him fight Kenny Florian. That would, I think, be a good one to set up a #1 contender almost after Shirk. That would be a good idea. As for Spencer Fisher, I would like to see him fight Joe Lauzon. That would be what I'd like to see. I think that would be a good fight. Next up, what was next? Joe Dirksen versus Ed Herman. This is the lone one I got wrong, and I kind of said if Dirksen didn't come in prepared, but he did come in prepared, so I can't really excuse myself. Herman just looked better. He's definitely improved his striking. He did very well in top position. Did get caught in a triangle, which is his worst enemy, it seems, and almost tapped out. If there was like 20 seconds longer in that second round, he would have been tapped to a triangle or an armbar. Kind of both Dirksen did. He did knock Dirksen out in the third round, so kudos to Ed Herman. Where does he go from here? I think you got to build him up a little bit more. Maybe give him not a can, but someone he can beat. Someone he can legitimately beat. Names kind of elude me right now, but maybe Travis Luger, or maybe a rematch with Kendall Grove. I'd actually like to see that. Both Grove coming off the loss, Herman being rebuilt. I think those two could have a match now, and it could make sense. Next up, as for Dirksen probably gets dropped at this point. He's, I want to say 1-4 in the UFC. Next, we have the Carl Parisian Rio Shonen fight. Went like I thought I was going to do. Parisian kind of winning the stand-up and taking Shonen down when he wanted to, controlling him on the ground. Shonen doing okay in all aspects. Where do they go from here? I want to see Shonen versus Gono. That's a fight I'd actually like to see. I don't even really know why I want to see it. It's just I want to see it. As for Caro, apparently he's supposed to be in the works for a title shot, but I really want to see Carl Parisian fight John Fitch. Next up, we had Houston Alexander versus Thiago Silva. I've been saying it. Alexander has a lot of holes in his game, and he showed them in this fight, and a lot of it has to do with the ground game. Silva got side control very easily. Alexander tried holding on to this guillotine choke even in side control. You're not going to tap someone like Silva with a guillotine, I think, period. And it definitely isn't going to be in side control. He got mounted, did not do a lot while he was mounted, got pounded out. I almost wish it happened a round later, because then I would have got more points on MMA Playground. For those of you who know, I'm on there. Where do they go from here? Houston Alexander, if they want to rebuild him, I suggest they put him up against a banger. Possibly a Thomas Doral, possibly, although I think Doral would beat him actually, but possibly a James Irvin when he returns from injury, possibly someone new. I don't really have, no opponent really sticks out to me for him. As for Silva, well, he's 3-0. He kind of been moving up. If Machida wasn't fighting Sokoju, I'd say Machida, but perhaps a Keith Jardine match or a Forrest Griffin matchup. Next up, we had the main event of the evening: Rashad Evans versus Michael Bisping. Split decision victory for Evans. I gave the first and third round to Evans. Evans got takedowns that scored points. Did not do a lot on the ground. He did okay. He looked good at standing, though. I'll give him that. But he gassed badly in the second round. Bisping takes a lot from this fight. He showed a good ability to get up and stop the takedown. So actually, I think he takes more positives out of this fight, even though they lost. Where do they go from here? I want to see Rashad Evans fight Tito Ortiz again. I want to see Bisping maybe drop down to 185. But if he stays at 205, tough call. I'd like to see them bring in Cyril Diabate and have the rematch between those two. Okay, I'll be on Clinch Talk on Friday. I'll be talking more about this card. I'll be talking about the Strikeforce card, about the IFL, Ultimate Fighter, a couple other things. But you know, signing off until then. Tune in. It's on Stickum, and the account is Clinch Talk Radio. I think it is It's either Clinch Talk Radio or Clinch Talk MMA. I'll post in the description when I look it up. And it's the name at yahoo.com to email in. Email me any questions you want. Come on and ask me some questions. After I'm done talking, I'll get to questions. That's how it basically works. See ya.